Okay, so it's time to replace the water filters in our Whirlpool WHER 25 reverse osmosis filter system. And we replace all three of them once a year, but we replaced them 6 months ago, so we're only going to replace the post filter and pre-filter, the charcoal filters. And we're also going to replace our faucet because it's been on there about 10 years and it's quite nasty. And so it's just a good time to do it. We've already replaced our tank once, and that's why we have a whole new system here that we're going to put on next February. But for right now, we're just going to replace the faucet. And I'll hold the camera in my mouth and take the tip off the faucet with my hands so you can see how it's done. Okay, so yeah, you can see here there's just a bunch of black crud that built up in there somehow, and we could probably just clean it off, but since we have a new faucet, we're just going to put it on anyway. And you can see here I just got my nails done a couple of days ago. Don't they look good? Okay, so we got our water turned off to the house down in the basement, and so next thing we're going to do is take our faucet off, and you just kind of rotate it right at the base, and it comes up just like that. The two screws that hold the base in are right there. And we went ahead and drained our water out of the tank also, which there was hardly any in the pressure tank. So now we're going to take that off, and then we'll disconnect our hoses under the sink and put in all new lines. Okay, so we got our towel down because we know there's going to be some water drip out of here, and this is our supply tube up to the faucet. So I'm going to push this little thing they call the collet, which is French for collar. So I'm just going to call it a collar. We'll just push that in, pull this out. There it is. Well, okay. Okay, so there it is. Whoa. So I'll cut these off and maybe use them later because it's PEX. And then this, I guess we'll just trash. Now we're going to take our base off, and once you get the faucet out, you can see the screws there. I may have to get up under there and back it up because on the back side of it is just those little gadgets that flare out, so it may be spinning underneath there. But at any rate, you just take those two screws out and then your base will come off. Okay, so we got our little faucet off, and we're going to use some 1200 grit steel wool to clean that off, and then we're going to put our new one on. Okay, so we got our faucet off. We got this cleaned up good. I'm going to use this little tubing cutter because this part has been flared out over the old faucet. It might not seal off as good, so I'm just going to cut about, I don't know, like a ½ inch off with it. So you just slide it on like that, cramp it down, spin it around a few times, spin it around a few more times. These don't, when it gets close to cutting it off, sometimes these don't work real good, so I've got an X-Acto knife here. Once I get it down there pretty close to cutting it off, I'll just take this off. Because these are mainly made to cut metal pipes, so I've got it scored nicely there. Let's take my X-Acto and cut it right on the score. It's very important that you cut this straight across too. If you make it pointed at all, then it may not seal off very good. So you take your time, make sure you cut it exactly square. See, I've got a little sharp, I can feel a little sharp point right there. So I'm going to take this cut that little point off. Keep working at it. You can feel it with your finger when you get it right. Well, I still got a little one right there. Get to a sharper point of the blade here. There we go. Yep, that's pretty darn good right there. So the new faucet already has the black and the blue tube on it. So we'll just slide that red one up over that. Okay, so this is the base, and those little gadgets there will go down and rotate around, and that's what's going to hold it on there. Because they're so long, instead of doing it with a screwdriver, we're going to use the power drill. Okay, so we got our base down, and this is not a quick connect like the others. It just slides over that little nipple right there. So hopefully it'll slide right on. If not, you know, we may have to put some kind of lubricant on it or something. Okay, so the easiest thing would be just to stab it in there, but we've actually got, you know, a lot more than we need. So I'm going to cut it off, and on this larger size, I'm just going to use our PEX tool. So just want to get it nice and straight. Make sure you cut it straight so it seals off good in the quick connect, and then just give it a, there you go. And then make sure I cut it straight, nice and clean, don't have any burrs in there. Stab it straight in there until you feel it seat. That's all there's to it, and hopefully won't leak. Here's our black one. I'm not going to cut anything off of it. It seems about the right length. I always try to make these like a natural run so that there's no stress on it. Hopefully that keeps it from leaking, you know. So same thing, I kind of push the quick connect out a little bit. You probably don't need to do that, but superstitiously I like to push it out and just push it down. Best thing ever made right here. I felt it seat against it. So it should be in there for good. So now we'll turn our water back on, and we should have a new faucet all hooked up. I guess while I'm down here, we'll go ahead and replace these two filters. And with the water turned off and the pressure off of it, they come off really easy. They come off really easy. You know, if I had the pressure on it, it would have hissed and stuff would have squirted out and everything. I like to label mine post, even though the pre-filter and the post filter are the same thing. Just superstitiously I put that on there so I don't get confused. And then that one's got RO on it, so. And then the new one will just twist right back on. Okay, so the last part of the job is we're going to get our little reminder light here and the battery put in it. So the screw that it uses is really super tiny. So you want to use a cruciform screwdriver that's also really a tiny point. And be careful because it's really easy to strip out and then you'd be in a bad place. So this comes right off like that. And you put a little battery in there with the positive side facing up. This has nothing to do with the operation of the faucet. It just has a resistor in there that takes 6 months for it to run the battery down. When the battery runs down, the light or knows to come on somehow. So yeah, there we go. Alright, so I just went and turned the water back on. I'm just kind of looking over here to see if water's going to spurt out anywhere. I like to, when I turn the whole house water on, do it real gradually. Just turn it a little bit, wait for about 30 seconds, turn it a little bit more, wait 30 seconds. That way you don't get that situation where the air, you know, makes your pipes vibrate and stuff, because it's kind of hard on your plumbing. when you do that. I think that sound is just the pressure tank going back up, but I don't see any water spurting out, so, or dripping anywhere, so that's always a good thing. Hopefully this was of help to somebody, and if so, please give me a thumbs up.